Still bright. Anyway. Hello, yate siya Richard DeCrane siya. Chini basta chin gagin net dinaan siya. Ashin da siya gagin den. Da siya nala kuteat dinaan siya. Hello everybody. Facebook land and YouTube. Yeah, just checking my setup here. I gotta do it today by myself. My son is busy at another conference, Zoom conference, so I'm my own IT guy, so good luck to me. So today I'm going to be talking about powwow dancers, traditional dancers to start off with. It's a request from a viewer a while back. So I'm going to talk about dancers. You know, we have hey Marine, I'm watching the comments right now. Yeah, so I'm going to share my story from traditional dancers' point of view. Also, I think last couple of weeks I've been talking about powwow in general, kind of where it came from, origin stories, and also how to plan a powwow, real basic type stuff. And today, kind of go into kind of more detail traditional dancers. I think if you heard from my stories, a lot of times, the reason why the powwows started, powwows come from the Plains area. The Plains Indians, including my tribe, have this dance societies. They have different dance societies and dance. So dances come from that middle area, the middle of the United States, which is the ranging all from down Mexico all the way up into Canada. That's the Great Plains area. So and a lot of these dances come together from all the different tribes in that area. And as you know from my when I was talking about the stories that how it came to California, there's a whole origin story how it got here to California. But it's here, and at the same time, we try to. I'm part of a couple of different dance classes, or a couple of different dance troupes. I work with Soaring Eagles here at the clinic, and I also work with the Star Dance Troupe also that works with Title 6 or Title 7. I can't remember what it's Indian Education, and also was working with the Verona folks for a little bit, and also also been working with Fancy Mocks. Sometimes we get to collaborate a little bit. It's more of a collaboration than me working with them, but yeah, so we've got a few dance troupes and a couple others. I think we talked about dance troupes and powwow dance troupes that have been here. We were talking about in the last conversation also the one that used to be one that was formed up in is it San Mesa Grande or SY? Can't remember exactly where it was at. I think it's Mesa Grande. Anyway, so we're just talking about past dance troupes, dance groups, and like I've said, we weren't the first. Like the Verona Little Hawks were here long before. I think Soaring Eagles, and there was Soaring Eagles and dance troupes that we've been a part of. And saying that, we back home we also have our own dance troupes. I think Nighthawk. There was a dance troupe back home, and so anyway, just thinking about all how far our powwow has come, how has it evolved, and a lot of tribes. I don't like to use the term Pan Indian, but I'm Navajo and I'm also Crow. But on my Navajo side, we didn't dance powwow. We kind of adopted that way, and coming from a tribe that didn't do powwow, and now we're fully involved in it, and where there's had to be some way to for us to stick to protocol, and so protocols were there've always been protocols since the beginning when we started having dances and they came to our areas. There's been protocol that's been followed. I try to I want to tell these stories to help people understand, what the dances truly mean, and where they come from, and so everyone can continue on. And yeah, Fancy Mocks is another one. They're still relevant. I know they kind of slow down a little bit, but I think most of them are fancy dancers. I think there's a couple jingle dress dancers, and oh yeah, I forgot about Kale. Kale is in there. He's part of that group, and um, but yeah. So just thinking about just trying to renew the stories and where it comes from. You can use this video um, for your dance troops to educate. That's my main purpose is to educate the kids or educate the people that want to be part of this dance society and dancing traditional. It's easy to just go and buy stuff. You could easily go to well, back home you could probably go to a pawn shop, and a lot of beadwork is there at the pawn shop, but you can't get feathers there at the pawn shop, but you can get almost whole dance outfits. We call them regalia, or dance clothes, dance outfits, regalia. We don't call them costumes. I know everybody probably knows that by now, hopefully. But yeah, just thinking about the stories. So these stories come from where I'm from. Come from the Crow people. I can only tell you my story because like I said, we've gotten away, and a lot of other tribes have adopted this way, this powwow life way, and a lot of times people refer to them as Pan Indians because they never had this tradition, but they took it on, adopted it. And for me, I didn't really like that term Pan Indian. When I first heard that term, it was in probably in college. I seen it written in some books and written some of that stuff, actually it's a good way to talk about it. But at the same time, I don't like to refer to myself as a Pan Indian. But anyway, I digress. Hey, let's get into it. So I have two bustles here. I dance with a kind of a round bustle. If you don't know, I'll show. I'm gonna try to show a video too. Show you the video of where I come from. When I shot a video a while back, 2000, almost 2 years now. Wow. Of the Crow Fair, kind of it's at Grand Entry. There's a few people I'm dancing with, Crow style. Back where I'm from, in Crow Fair, Crow Country. The Crow style is the first to enter the dance arena. I know down here traditional dancers that come from all different tribes are the first to enter the arena. But there, Crow style is traditional dance style. A lot of people get it confused with the chicken dance, which is also traditional to some tribes, but other tribes it's not so much. But for my tribe, the Crow style is traditional dance, and where I come from, they're the ones that come in first, and a lot of this, like I said, these dances, actually begin with with the warriors that would go out and be gone for long periods of time, and they would return home, and a lot of time the people that stayed home would throw them a celebration or a welcome home. Sometimes they would be gone for days, sometimes they'd be gone for war, or sometimes they would be out exploring or protecting our territories. Whatever happened or whatever they do. And if something significant happens, things happen. And during those times, there was a lot of composers of songs back then. And sometimes, something would happen, and they would compose a song right then about what the incident, and they would share that song. And they also would share a dance of what happened, while they were gone, the warriors. And the warriors, in a sense, for us as Indian people, it means different. It has there's a lot of mistranslations I've noticed. Mistranslations of even our name, our language, and with the English language. And warrior is one of those mistranslations. Warriors, is the person that goes out and does good for the people and comes back and shares the story. And they can be any gender. A lot of times we start labeling ourselves different gender, but but yeah, so women and men had stories, and not to say gender or anything, but there were stories shared, and a lot of times it was the men, not all the time, like I said, and so they would share their stories, whatever would happen at battle, and usually they would be the first ones that come into the arena, and because of course, this kind of celebration was about it. So, as we evolve, as we got more complex and different, as we just kind of, I guess, evolve is probably the best way, and women started coming into dancing, and different tribes started coming in and sharing their ways, and they kind of kind of got together, and so we have all different categories. If you go to a contemporary powwow these days, there's all different categories that come into that dance arena, and that grand entry. A lot of people say, and which is kind of true. It also stems from the Wild West show, Wild West Buffalo Bill, Wild West show. And so, they had that grand entry just to kind of parade in the dancers. And so we kind of adopted that way and took that for us as Indian people, because, after, all of these tribes wanted to come in, it was really, beautiful and fantastic to see all different tribes coming together and sharing this way as dance people. And, dance troops and dance societies were formed, and there was already dance societies and dance groups long before, and even warrior societies and different societies that we have in our different cultures, and one of those was the dance society. And so for us as Crow people, we got the rights to this call it the round bustle, or the mess bustle. We got the rights to own that and talk about it from the Lakota people, and a lot of our rights came from the Lakota people. There's a story, they came into our territory, and we captured them and took them to our elders, and we shared what they had with them. They had their bundle ties and their medicine bundles, and they had this bustle with them, and I guess they were collecting stuff and going through our territory, and we captured them. And that's what they said to our elders, and so our elders were respectful. They said, okay, you guys can go take your stuff with us, and we'll escort you. And so one of my grandfathers, grandfather of tobacco, and the story is a long time ago, escorted them back to the Lakota territory. And so they were really happy that they got these warriors and their medicine and their bundles and their feathers for their ceremony. So they end up gifting us, or giving us the rights and responsibilities to have this bustle, and the dance society, and what's called the dog eating ceremony, or the traditional welcoming of the veterans is what we took from it, and we wanted to do that for our veterans, and so but also we also had our own dance style that was traditional, Crow style. Let me show you this bustle. This is an imitation or emulation, not imitation, but a rebuilt one, kind of. I think the original round bustle had a bell in it, and it was a lot more messy in the middle. And I'll kind of show. This is the one I dance with. It's not exactly. It's more contemporary, you could say, but not as contemporary as other dances you'll see. This is kind of an old style, but it's originally it's a mess bustle, and these are some of the spikes that they come out to kind of decorate it a little bit. And these are all tail feathers, or mostly tail feathers, and I have other hawk, furious hawk, and other eagle feathers on the inside, and I kind of did like a stars and stripes because I'm a veteran. And at the bottom, is the trailer. Some of the awardees, they'll put awardees and accomplishments on here, and and different things or different meanings that happen that we put on our bustles. And so so just like this one, we have the Crow style bustle, which is like this. And so I usually replace this with this, and I leave the trailer on, and I leave the spikes on. And those are a lot of decoration, and at the same time there's a lot of specific meaning for us. Crow people, we use a lot of the birds, the raptorial birds, the birds, the like the eagle, and even the owl, hawk, different types of hawk we have on our bustles, and some of them have meaning. And of course, we have the feather, but all is to give respect to this to the animals. I think we can even go back farther into time. I think the story that I've kind of been going around and seen, and this is just from my perspective. I've seen I think the Lakota, because in those days we counted coop what's called Counting Coup. It was a war, or war games, you could say, a war, just to keep um, us into top shape, or keep us very um, what's the word, active in our community, you could say, vigilant. Um, because living in those times, you had to be aware of your surroundings at all time, and be ready, prepared. It was because we lived out in the open and lived out in the big prairie, and if you live in the forest or and things like that, you just back then, there's a lot more animals than there are today. Buffalo, elk, moose, wolves, mountain lions, bears. There was just so many, and just tons of different animals that you just had to be aware of your surroundings at all times. And so this coop counting, that's what we got, was a game, a kind of a warfare game that we played. No one was killed or anything. The idea was to sneak into the enemy's camp, and touch them, and that brought more respect. And at the same time, someone needed to witness, and that brought respect to that warrior, that that he could sneak up on the enemy without being noticed or engaged, and he would leave successfully. And some of those deeds, though, they call them war deeds, that they would do to count coup. And some of those deeds were done so they can expand in chiefhood, so they could become the leader of the tribe, or if they want to, become a higher rank warrior, or things like that, they would do. And like I said, there was warriors that would do that. And there's quite a few different stories of women warriors, great stories, I could share one day. But in other genders, when I say, kind of stop. For me, not a labeling and things like that. I want to try to get away from that. And I know, get away from and labeling ourselves as genders. I always heard that as many stars in the sky, that's how many genders there are in the world. And so to get away from like a Western way of thinking, which that is as Indian people, I know we have a lot of traditional teachings, and none of it was that. It was it was very welcoming type of traditional teachings. But anyway, I digress. To the bustles and showing you, I was telling you the story of where I think I kind of speculate. I tend to theorize a little bit. At the same time, during these times we were counting coup, and I think the Lakota, or a tribe like them, counted coup on the Omaha people, which are in our areas. Because one of the first stories I heard about that round bustle comes from the Omaha people. It comes from the origin stories, when and it talks about how the first animals that came into this world were the eagle, and also eagle was also one of the animal, and also all the flying birds, including the crow was one of them, also one of the main ones, the first ones that came into this world. And also there was a wolf that came into this world also. And the Omaha bustle, the traditional bustle, they have a eagle hide or eagle skin on one side, and on the other side they wear the wolf on one side, and the back would be the eagles. And all those represent those first animals that came into this world, because this world was all water. And and I kind of theorize, kind of speculate, just the stories when I heard, and how, because they stopped using, the Omaha people kind of stopped using that bustle, and I think it was during these war deeds, that they lost that bustle, and they gave them, but they still use it. They use it during their grass dance societies. They would bring it out during ceremonial times, and I think Lakota somehow got a hold of it, whether they were the ones that did it or they were the ones that were part of that, and it was passed on to them. Not too sure, but at the same time, this is how we got it as Crow people. We captured those warriors, and we returned their goods back to their ceremonial items back to their people, and they gave us this in rewards. But at the same time, we were always in talks, along with our sister tribe, or our older sister tribe, I like to say, or what we refer to as our mother tribe, the Hidatsa, up in North Dakota, which is the tribe we came from. The story how we left that area. Before they were Hidatsa, they were named another tribe, and we were part of that tribe. there's a whole another story that I can get into and go into, but into detail. But we'll try to limit it down to what I'm just sharing the traditional speakers. So, moving forward, just thinking about the speakers and where they come, or the speakers, the eagle feathers. So that's kind of a story that I was told. But for us as the Crow people, we were told we've got this dance. This is long. Long time ago, before even Columbus was here, we got these bustles, and we did these operations. And even this bustle where I come from, we emulate the sage grouse. And the story goes, for us Crows, we were in a battle, and then only one person survived, and that one warrior came, and he survived, but on his battle, but he was injured at the same time. He was in battle fatigue, and he was injured, and he was. Some say even on his deathbed, as he was coming back away from the battle that he was in, came upon this area, this kind of tree area, but in the middle he noticed a mountain called a lurch, and he saw, and the story is kind of the same one, almost the same as the Blackfoot one. The Blackfoot tell us a similar story, but for us, we that warrior tells a story. So I kind of theorize too and speculate also that that the maybe the blood, we were part of, actually there are stories of us sharing the blood tribe. Some of those are our people, even the Blackfoot tribe. Some of those were the Crow people. There's lots of mixing and mingling, you could say, but at the same time we share stories, we share traditions, and some of the things that we share, this bustle. What comes from that story of and that warrior being on his almost his deathbed, pretty much. But he saw the warrior, he saw the prairie chicken there, and at that time, the warrior saw that, and he was in that state of mind where you're in between life and death, and he saw, and he witnessed that the prairie chicken was because where the man came from was death and destruction. And when he came to the prairie chicken, he saw what he witnessed was life, bringing of life. They were in their own world. They were doing their mating dance, and so that was the beginning of life. So he saw death, and then he saw the beginning of life. And in that mindset, and in his mindset, the prairie chicken came to him and saved his life, and showed him these ways, showed him a song, and it kind of that's where kind of the double beat, we call it the hop step. Hot step, and that's where we got what's called a hot step or a double beat, the original songs that the Crow people sing, and we got that from the sage grouse and the hot step, and so we got that dance, and songs were composed and shared with us by that bird, and so that warrior was able to make it home and tell the stories and share the songs that that sage grouse shared with him, and it brought him back to reality and brought him back to life. So he was able to make it home and share those stories with us. And so that's kind of the story where we got our bustle and how we emulate that sage grouse. Not only did they provide nourishment and healing, that, so since then we've always known that that prairie chicken or sage grouse is kind of a healing. It provides good nourishment, and at the same time good feelings. If you look into the Blackfoot side of the story, it says that warrior's chicken, or the spirit of the chicken, came to the family because the man wanted to feed his family, and the man had captured that chicken and took it back with him, and he interrupted the prairie chicken's process of he was in the middle of doing his mating dance, to start the beginnings of life, when mating dances, because what you didn't see in that story was the males were on the little mound, and they were the ones dancing and showing off, and the females were up atop, flying in the air and looking down and watching the males, and they would pick their mating. And so that's how little kids were born. I always tell that story to the young kids, and I'm actually more detailed, and I try to do more visuals with the young kids when I work with young kids. Hopefully you can see that how I'm picturing. It's a little different, and so the Blackfoot story says that prairie chicken gave his life for that warrior, and the family, because he was able to feed his family, and himself, and that warrior, that Prairie Chicken, was upset and said, "Why did you interrupted?" And wanted to curse the man for killing him, and interrupting his process. And so he was able to save himself by giving thanks to the Prairie Chicken, and finishing that dance, that Prairie or that Prairie Chicken dance, to be able to take care of his family, to heal his family, and not be cursed. And so from there we have a lot of different things or respect that we got from these feathers. And this stories come from like Crow people, and like Crow people, we weren't stationary, we moved around until we found our what now we know as Arrow Creek or Bawap. Where I'm from is Prairie, Montana. This place where we found our tobacco, because in our story, there was a vision, when we separated from the main tribe, or the Hidatsa. But before they were Hidatsa, we had a vision of finding this place of paradise, because at that time, we were where we were at. We were overpopulated, you could say, and there was a vision some elder had. And to fulfill that prophecy, that vision, we found this place, and we found where our tobacco could grow. But along the way, our story, our story of meeting different people, meeting different tribes, all over this country. We traveled all the way down. And with the Kiowa, we shared some of our stories, and they shared some of us. And so some of our Crow people are down with the Kiowa. And then we went across. Even said we went over the seas and went across the the land bridge that everybody talks about, and went on the other side to the other side of the world, and then didn't find it, and came back this way. And on the way, we bumped bumped into other tribes, other people, and some of our people also stayed with the Nez Perce, and I think that's battle where we got this bustle. Also, that's where it comes from. I believe in that area when we were one tribe, the Nez Perce and the Crow tribe were one tribe at one time, and there's evidence in that there was two songs that were composed from what's called the double beat, or the duck and dive. I'm sorry, the double beat. Two songs that were composed from what they call the duck and dive. And duck and dive, the story, I can't tell this story without telling the singing part, or the drum, how that comes into play. Because the drum, without the drum and the singers that sit around it, we can't have that beat. That beat, itself has its own story. A lot of tribes have different stories of where it came from and what it means. And I think for us as Crow people, it's a reminder of our mother's heartbeat. And when we enter that dance circle, it's like going back into literally like the mother's womb. There's one way in. Into that dance circle, and it gives us into that spiritual realm. Once when we were innocent, we were in our mother's stomach, and it's all about creation. And that beat reminds us of the mother's heartbeat. And so the drum is a big part of our way of life, of how we came to be. And when we go back in this dance circle, it's the same way we give respect to that drum beat. And at the same time, songs were composed, and those, like I said, those two songs, to what they call the duck and dive. But in our translation, the Crow translation, we refer to it as the Stooping Song, where the Stooping Song is also an emulation of the sage grouse. When they're dancing, you'll see they'll do their feathers like this, and then they'll go like that, and that's the stooping, and that's where that comes from. And there's been a mistranslation across the United States of what that means. I think that a lot of people think it's about Custer and the Last Stand and the cannons, and they're shooting the cannons at the warrior, and that, I think that kind of came from the Wild West Bill show, Buffalo Bill's Wild West show. That kind of came from that, because they want it to be more exciting, more into the times. And so there was a mistranslation, or where that's the story of the duck and dive come from. And for me, from that Crow perspective, I always do my best, from what I've heard, to tell the right story, to tell it where it originated, where it came from. And so there's to this day, there's only two tribes. There's a couple other songs that people have tried to make a duck and dive, the Cree, but the original ones, it gives heart, and there's a lot of heartfelt. And if you ever heard that song, the duck and dive, at the beginning of that of that song, there's actually five, what we call five push-ups, and normally there's only four push-ups or four verses in a song. First is the start, and usually the lead singer starts with that, and then the second person or the other people around the lead singer will sing the second and just repeat that verse the first singer started with, and then they do the same thing again. They have a second verse, which can be started by a different person or the same singer that started it, and he would say that, and it would go in rotation of four. So that's how it would be. But in those songs called a duck and dive, they would do five, and the first one being for the warriors, the warriors that witness the Prairie chicken. And so a lot of times you'll see the other people that aren't warriors, they won't start dancing, but for the people that are warriors, that have are combat warriors, they can, from the crow side perspective, that we can start dancing during that first push-up, and then as soon as that first push-up's done, they'll call in the other dancers, and the other warriors can come and dance. And a lot of times I see that mistranslation, or not done correctly, or not sung right, or but at the same time, I just stay humble and say they don't really know, they're kind of adopted this way. And so I try to stay positive. At the same time, I know the origin stories, and I wanted to put that out there also, so that, like I said, there was things that were developed long ago that we try to stick with and try to stay with and try to keep that tradition alive. And through that, luckily, the stories that were shared with me, and places that I've been able to hear and been shared with in that song, and those where it comes from, and how traditionally, as Crow people, as Crow men, where it came from for my people. And other tribes, like I said, they got how they got this bustle and how it got to them. They have different stories. Maybe they were adopted, maybe they were part of a raid or something and got that way. But in thinking about all the coop, where we practice coop, a lot of our dance regales that we wear, I kind of wear a traditional one where we kind of coop on, the Lakota people, so that's why I wear some of the stuff that I wear. And I don't wear exactly what was counted coop on a long time ago. We kind of wear an updated version, contemporary version, you could say. But at the same time, I don't go out of. I know I've noticed, and I've known other people that have noticed that even in our dance in the Prairie Chicken, sometimes I'll see some people that wear the wrong stuff. They haven't earned, and you'll see like the. I don't know. I don't want to get into it, but I'll see that, and I'll be like, and sometimes I'll challenge them sometime and ask them, why are you wearing that? What's the story about that? And at the same time, I know other things that other tribe that wear, and they're out of context. They didn't earn it. But at the same time, try to stay humble, try to stay good, and try to the best I can do is just share a story. Hopefully, people that have adopted this way can continue on the way that it was taught or learned from the animals, and where the origin stories come from. That's the power of our dances. Learning our traditional ways. There's always a teaching that that happens if you go to some of our celebrations and powers. And so this traditional styles, they're usually the first ones that come into the dance arena, and you'll see them parade at the beginning. They'll be right behind. Usually we have the veterans, warriors carrying their flags, and that eagle staff right after. So it's usually the eagle staff first, and then the flags, and then royalty, if we have royalty, or head dancers would be next, and then it would be the traditional dancers coming in, starting with the men that have this bustle. The eagle bustle comes in, and there's a lot of stories, of the power of some of the outfits that we wear, to see that, just seeing it, in real life, and seeing, I know there's a story about the Sioux. I'm gonna try to say general, not really use that. That's another mistranslation of a word. Lakota, Sioux, Dakota. And all the tribes in that area, remember I was talking to an elder, or she was actually talking to me and telling me a lot of things, just really sharing a lot of things with me and telling me how the reasons why they bob their head like that is to share that, to give good medicine, to give good vibes to the people that are witnessing. They would share the medicine. They would move their feathers around to share that medicine with the people, and it makes the people feel good. And as a real reciprocal relationship that we have in dancing, I know there's many stories that we have that involve the movement of our feathers and the movement of a person, of the body as a whole and spirit. And like I said, that entering that circle is very spiritual at sometimes for some people, and some people, in contemporary times, a lot of people just think there's a lot of contest dancing and also traditional dancing or traditional powwows. There's a difference, and then there's some elements that are left out. But a lot of ceremonies sometimes are left out in the contests. But at the same time, there's a lot of traditionals that are done and sung upon, and a lot of things that I've learned that I know how to practice. And one of the first things is to get the dance arena ready with prayer offerings and petitionings to the Creator to have a good celebration, a good fair. And so the crow and the traditional dancers, usually the first ones. I think a lot of times you'll see traditional dancers would have this round bustle, like I was showing you, and that would be at the beginning of the powwow. But as this bustle evolved, it became it became bigger and bigger. I've seen them really huge. They use from all the eagle. The bigger bustles that you see are the whole wings left and right, and also the tail. So pretty much using the whole bustle. This one is kind of a tails and maybe some secondaries, but I know I've seen really huge bustle that they carry. They make it all going, because I can tell the pointers of the wing. The wing itself has pointers, and then also like it has. I call it ailerons, kind of like a plane. This front one is like a pointer, and it just kind of controls up and down, or left and right, and up and down. And so, I think the people refer to the secondaries as the ones that go back here, and these are kind of the pointers, or the tips, and so this is part of the eagle feather. But a lot of traditional dancers will wear that all those feathers around, and and even contemporary, you'll even double it up, so you have get out of control, a little out of control, a little crazy, and it gets doubled up. I'm just saying, sometimes it gets out of control, because they're trying to show off, and I think money came involved for us in Powwow Arena, and kind of took Powwow another way, but at the same time, it was good, but it wasn't good. Because there was a whole process that was developed, that it's a reciprocal relationship to dance in the dance arena, because we have this thing called giveaway or give back. Just to enter the arena, there are certain aspects or elements that you have to be a part of. Thinking from a veteran point of view, and also the crow side, veterans are the only ones that can bring dancers into the arena, and with that veteran, you bring stories and brings learnings. You could say learning of the kids or the people that want to come into the arena. And so, but nowadays, elders do it, and other tribes have their ways, and I just can share what I know from my people and my ways that I've been taught and learned. And so I want to share that with you, because we have dance troops all over this country now. Nowadays, hopefully I was thinking this could be good information for our dance troop, because we have young kids that I may not be able to talk to, but they might check this video out and kind of learn something. Or parents, I talk with parents and try to tell the story, and hopefully the story for me, I know my son Thomas knows the story, because that was important for us to know the story, the origin story of his dance, and then that way it gives him power to dance, and gives him ways and rights and responsibilities to take care of the things that he has. Each part of our dance outfits, our regalia, has a different story, where they come from. Each tribe has their own aspect or story. I only can relate what I was taught to me and what was learned. I usually actually, you might see me. I'm gonna try to play a video to kind of show you a video I recorded a while back. I'm gonna scoot in a little bit so I can get close. I'm gonna play this video a while back, and at Crow Fair, I kind of did a grand entry. If you don't know what a grand entry is, this is up at where I'm from, Crow Fair, and I have a few friends, actually quite a few friends that I kind of videotape. I may not show all of it. I may fast forward a little bit and see if it works. So this is my first time. Wish me luck. Hey. Let's see. I know you can share your screen. Oh, and of course the screen share is gone. It was right here. Something with polls. Stream setup. Okay, there it is. Okay. Ooh. Oh, I didn't. There's a lot of different things on this thing. I'm kind of getting used to this thing and kind of getting used to Zoom. And then just when you say that, things don't work. Anyway, I was trying to screen share dashboard. So bear with me for a second. Video clips. Oh, I don't want to create. Oh wow, I can do all kind of stuff. Create polls, create questions, ask for help. Never mind. But anyway, I was trying to screen share, but I don't know how it works. Uh-oh. Cancel. Almost ended my live video. Anyway, I was trying to screen share. Oh, Thomas is here. Yay, to save the day. See, it's acting weird. I don't know why it's locked up. Yeah, my computer's acting up. So, yeah, maybe next time I'll share some. I'll do screen share or some. I think they might have had an update or something that.
Oh yeah.
That's not letting us to screen share. Maybe I unplug this. Unplug something. Oh, sorry. I don't know what happened. I just pressed the button. Hopefully I didn't disappear. But anyway, I was gonna try to screen share the Crow grand entry, but it's really something to see if you haven't been to a powwow and see all the dancers come in, and the music playing, the live music, and and some of the bigger powwows here in Southern California, you get to see the entrance of these traditional dancers. Like I said, I have a good friend, Chuck Adot tells the story of the Lakota people and how they have that bustle, and you'll see him dance traditional style, and a lot of the kids will see him also, and also Ben Nance, who's been around for a while. Who else is here in the local area? Of course myself and Richard Parker and quite a few other dancers. Just thinking about who we come in, but usually those people that are first welcome in. I was talking about the warriors, the Eagle staff, and then royalty or head dancers. Back home we don't really have head dancers. We have royalty that comes in because back home we actually know what to do. There's no really actually I think everybody knows what to do. Kind of everybody will tell everybody how to do it. But here in California we have head dancers. Head man, head woman, even go so far as get down head elder, head tiny tot, head kid, head boy, head young kid. So we get kind of carried away. Some powwows get a little carried away and want to honor everybody, and that takes time. And a lot of powwows, back home, it's usually 4 days plus. Our Crow Fair runs about 7 days. And so in all that, you don't see the ceremony. You don't. There's times, and even before that, you have to get the area prepared, the grounds ready. A lot of things that you don't see. And there's different ceremonies. There's giving of name ceremonies, and there's all kind of little ceremonies that you don't see, you don't get to witness, publicly. But at the same time, they happen, and there's a lot of passing on of knowledge of elders and kids, because it's the perfect moment. The perfect setting for knowledge to be shared. It's, at times I like to refer to it as our college. It could be, I guess, high school too, but it's a perfect opportunity for our elders to gather and our young people to gather and share stories and language, and even our dances. We get to share our different dances, and I can also talk about some of the drum or the singing. Like I said, the drum. Getting back to the importance of the drum and the singing, it's referred to as the beat of of Mother Earth, and we hear that. And there's different songs composed for different dancers and different dance styles. Traditionally, even some of the songs that talk about the sneak up. Let's talk about traditional dancers, men traditional. They refer to that as the sneak up, and they would retell the story. This comes from what I was told. It comes from the Lakota people. Is the sneak up, and they would and you'll hear the drums. It'll be like a rumbling, and the traditional dancers will start shaking their necks and their shoulders and kind of get down, and they'll shake their bells and ring their bells and kind of get ready for battle. And they would basically tell a story of what happened in a battle, or when they were gone at war. They would tell the story, and a lot of times during that sneak up, they always tell that same story about the Battle of the Little Bighorn. I kind of laugh about it because it's a story that we're part of, but then we're not part of as Crow people, because the Crow people, we kind of, some people think we sided with the U.S. government, or sided with them, but at the same time, us as Crow people, we had a vision, that came to us. So we had and fulfilling that vision, we said we weren't to take arms against the white settlers. We were, just to kind of guide them. At the same time, so we wouldn't suffer what everybody else was going to suffer, because there was a vision that happened. A lot of people were going to suffer, and so as Crow people, we just kind of say we sat back, or actually we watched our enemies fight our enemies, because we didn't take sides with the colonizers or the white people, but at the same time we kept an eye on them. The way we kept an eye on them was kind of leading them. Some of the stories go back to us as being scouts and serving for the cavalry, and at times we would lead them to where they wanted to go, but most times the scouts would the importance of the scouts, of the Crow scouts, were so that our tribes, the Crow people, could be informed of where the movements of these military people. So we were very strategic in that we had embedded a spy into the U.S. cavalry, and so we would know, and so we would move out of the way and get our people to safety, while other people, and then we would use that as our enemy to get our enemy out of the way. At the same time, and there was, at that time when the Battle of Little Bighorn, we knew this. It's called a battle of the greasy grass. Greasy grass. That area where they have the Little Bighorn was very well off place. That a lot of elk, big herds of wild animal game used to be the area, and that was our territory as the Crow people. We kept that area, and at that time they had they sought refuge. You could say some of the Cheyenne and the Lakota and the Sioux and Arapaho, they all sought refuge, and at the same time they were trying to get away from the U.S. cavalry, and they came into our area, our territory. And for us as the Crow people, we didn't want them in our area, so we led that Custer that way. But at the same time, we got rid of that Custer because he was doing bad things, and we knew they were there, and we already knew he was outnumbered, and so the Crow people led Custer to that area, and that story's not told. But for my people, once we got close, we said right down that way, and we went up to the hills, because we knew that area already, and where they were at was kind of in a dip, and they didn't see Custer coming over or actually they kind of knew. The story was they knew they were coming, and they had word from their scouts, and we came closer, and we went up into our area we call the Eagle's Nest, and kind of looked down where we could see this battle happened. So we witnessed and seen all this, the battle, our enemies fighting our enemies, as we say, as the Crow people. But at the same time, they talk about the battle of the greasy grass, as Custer's last stand, as most people know it. And so every time, that's why I kind of laugh at the same time, because they always leave us out, the Crow people, from that story, and they share that shake up or that sneak up song. But so if you see me ever come, I'll come into the middle of the dance, and I'll go on the outside and kind of just watch them come in, because during that sneak up, they like to creep up and go. All these dancers are dancing like this, and they'll creep to the middle, and all of a sudden they'll turn around and they'll come out, and kind of all come out in circles, And so me, I'm on the outside of the arena watching them, trying to emulate. I try to tell the story from my perspective. I'll go to the middle, lead them there, then I'll take them on the outside. So that's my story. If you ever see me dance that story, you can see that dance called a sneak up on the internet if you wanted to see it. But in live in person, it's really something to see. You'll see all the warriors kind of dance together, and they'll sneak up to the middle of the middle of the circle, and then like I said, they'll all scatter to the outside like they're in a warrior, and they'll kind of scatter and kind of do this. It's really a good story. You'll see some of the stories do their best dance story, best dance reenactments of that one battle. And so that story comes from those people, and so and I think there was a lot of things that happened during that battle, good and bad, and us Crows people being there to witness it. We just witnessed it and saw it, and so they tell that story over and over many times at some of our big events, our big powwows and gatherings, and I know back in the Black Hills and the powwows in there that they have, they'll retell that story, and they captured that American flag, and then they'll drag it. There's a whole, if you get to go to that celebration, you'll see how they drag that American flag, or sometimes they'll burn it, and because they were only a lot, they were one of the few people, or one of the, actually most natives didn't lose against the U.S. cavalry or the colonizer. We actually won, defeated them, but it was our choice to stop, because that wasn't our way to kill people or to do bad things to women and children like they did to us as people. It wasn't our way, and so we stopped. We won those battles, but at the same time we stopped. We made treaty, but they broke every one of our treaties. Whole history story that can be told, and lessons, and kind of got off topic and kind of went into a little bit of storytelling. But yeah, so that sneak up was one dance the traditional dancers tell, and usually do, and you'll see them also dance other songs. Usually it's more getting back to the drum. It's a what we call a straight beat, where it's a straight song, and it's so that they can show their moves. And other times, another song is probably the sneak up, or not sneak up, the what they call a foot slide, or crow hop. Sometimes I'm kind of confused between those two. Foot slide and crow hop, and who knows the difference? You tell me. From my experience, from the stories that I come from, the Crow people, we call what's called the double beat. From what I was told, the other tribes that try to copy us or emulate that song, that double beat, they tried to do that with that crow hop, and they refer to it as a crow hop because it comes from my people, the Crow people, but at the same time they don't do the beat how we used to do it. It was kind of like this, a double beat. They kind of do that's the crow hop, and the funny story too. I think we taught the Lakota people how to do that dance, but we showed them, because our women dance that same beat, but they do a front foot slide like this. They do like a front foot slide, and I think maybe that's where they got the foot slide from, because our Crow women, there's songs composed for them when they dance, and they do that double beat. It's the same beat, but the style of the women is a little different. They use the front feet, and I think we taught the Lakota people that style of the women dance style, that kind of version. But at the same time, for the double beat, for us we call it the hot step, because it looks like we're dancing on coals. And the story comes from a long ago also, how we got that dance, where it came from, where I think I should share that story earlier, but at the same time it's like us, it looks like we're dancing on coals, but we stay in beat, and it's different than what was taught to Lakota and other tribes. The songs are just a little different, and you'll see that they'll be dancing to I think the way I refer to it is a double beat is an older song, and the crow hop is a newer contemporary version of the double beat, and a lot of people refer to it like that because a lot of people composed, and a lot of other drums came in and composed songs and made it their own, and and so sometimes I'll hear MCs do a foot slide, or no, do do a crow hop, and then the arena director will be like, then the singers will be like, okay, we'll just sing a double beat, and it's the same thing, but at the same time, the double, and the arena director comes over, like, why did you sing that? We were trying to do a crow hop or a foot slide, and I seen that one time. I was just sitting there laughing and watching the arena director, and then get not angry, but he just like asked them why they sing that song, and he wanted a foot slide because they were doing a contest, and the contest they wanted a foot slide for that. But anyway, it can get really political. At the same time, people know what they know and want this to be a certain way, and there's sometimes there's compromise and no compromise, and it's kind of fun if you know what to look for and what to see. And different tribes traveling all over this Indian country, and seeing how powwow has grown into what it is very, very eye-opening and unique and wonderful to see how it's grown. Coming into the cities, into the areas, and for me, teaching the kids in our dance class, has been really good medicine for me. Really good emotional medicine. Teaching my son the stories, and him taking it upon himself to learn the stories and get in front of people. And I'd like to have people guest with me, guest host with me. I'll try to work that out how we can do that. But a lot of people are kind of camera shy. I'm camera. I used to be camera shy, but I've grown kind of stopped being so camera shy. But I still get nervous and stuff. But I think a lot of people, when I ask them to come share a story or get on camera, they get really nervous when they start seeing people on camera, and they don't want to do it. They don't like, no. I'll even pay you some money, and they'll be like, still no, because that that shyness gets the best of them. So I'll try to do what I can to share the knowledge that I've learned. Traveling across Indian country, and a lot of the knowledge comes from just being on firsthand, listening to the elders or people talking on the mics, and learning, and also going back to my elders and talking to them and asking them, why is this, what's this for, what's this why for. And that's the way I learned. I didn't, even though I grew up, I was born named at the crow fair, and I danced as a young kid. I don't, I didn't, it wasn't until long ago, until after I got out of the military, that I really got into dancing. And if you heard my story, it wasn't until my daughter started to dance, my daughter came into the world, and I started coming more to the powwows, when I met my wife, and in college, and that's how kind of powwow came back into my life, I could say. And it's been very healing for my family, including my daughter, who danced. At the beginning, she wanted to dance fancy shawl, so we taught ourselves how to sew, how to get together. And there's other people that came before me. A lot of people that helped start that dance troupe or dance organization. Vicky Gambala comes to mind, of course, Mr. Roy Cook, I think Richard Parker, and Chuck Cadot, and Randy Edmonds. Not no particular order, just so you know, but they came together and organized and helped put things together for that beginning first Soaring Eagle dance class. And I remember it, like yesterday. Roy Cook and Ben Nats were at the drum. They had a stage. They had this place in El Cajon, North Park. We got this place. I think it was at a church, part of a church, and we got this little room, and it was really hot in that room. And then they had it like a little stage, and down below it was where Roy and Ben were at, and then my friend Leland, who was also the lead singer for the Green River Singers, and he was there. And also Terry, he would show up, and then I would sit with that drum. And I remember Roy Cook, invited me over to sit with him. I knew Roy before I knew that. Sitting at the drum, I knew him as a veteran, a fellow veteran. We were in the same Warrior Society dance group, and I remember that first day being there, and the kids were excited, we were excited, and we just started singing, and the kids came in. They didn't know what to do. My kids were all lined up against the sides of the building. It was hot. We were trying to open the windows, and we were the drum was set up real strategically right by the side the door that could open. So we had the door open. We were hot and sweaty, and I think Richard Van Dyke's daughter Parker, was given the task of to try to show the girls how to dance, and he was trying to show the boys how to dance, and it kind of grew like that in those beginnings, and we've got um, other dance instructors that came involved, including myself, and other people that would come sometimes and show up, and we would make them dance instructors. And for me right now, we have Sonia Flores from the local tribe, um, here, Paula, I believe she's from, but is now the current dance instructor along with myself. I try to teach what I can, kind of out of shape. Powwow season, but I do what I can. I don't know all the dance steps or dance styles. I remember even like my good friend Chuck Cadat he found himself having to teach the girls, the little girls how to dance, and he taught and I taught, and then our way of teaching is a little different from each other, and so the kids kind of benefit. But it was for the kids to show them, and I remember at times I would get after some of the parents and show them the only way the kids will get out here is if you get out there, and so we would make them dance the round dance, and that's empowering the parents, so they could see, to give the kids someone to look to dance to, kind of look up to, as they would look to other kids, but at the same time if they see their parents up there dancing also, it would give them a little bit of power to get up there also and dance and not be scared. Or so that's one thing I always try to emphasize to the parents that bring their kids to our dance class, our dance group and dance troupe, and it's grown. We've grown into family, and we like to see these kids grow. They learn a tradition, and then they grow and start to learn, and it gives them motivation to learn their tradition if they're from different tribes. This dance, they learn a tradition that has been passed down from generation to generation, and at the same time, you see the growth in different families. They'll start wanting to learn more about their own tribes, and you'll see that growth. I've seen that growth, in some of our kids that came through, and also in the parents that would seek out where they came from and learn their language and learn their dance traditions, and later on, they come back and share some of their stories and share some of their music that they learned. And it all came from this dance class and this interest in dancing and singing and good feelings. And I really give thanks to being able to do this. Right now I'm doing my dream job. I've always wanted to be, um, make powwow kind of my way that I can go and dance and practice my tradition where I come from, and kind of traditional way of being, of even selling my items, my traditional boxes, or my traditional things that I wear, and live off of that. And lately I've been living my dream, and being able to share the stories that I know and where it comes from and stems from. And that's for me as a person, I've grown tremendously. Like I said, I didn't start out learning all this stuff. I had to go and I always make this a point that you have to seek out the information. You can't just be there. For me as a Crow person, I had to bring 4 items. Tobacco, um, maybe some food item, or some medicine or a blanket, and also of course the reason why you want to learn this dance, or learn whatever story you're seeking. That's the way traditionally I was taught to be, and how I asked to get information from my elders or my traditional teachers. So just something that you could do and think about. Always give thanks, or give something to that person you're asking information of. And I think we can. And like I said, our traditions are healing. Our culture is very healing, and our way of life as indigenous people and Indian people. The Western world is just now catching up with us, and at the same time, we know how to do self-care, self-awareness. And right now, even though we're in these times of being quarantined and being away from our people, and we've gone through this before as Indian people, and we've survived. And so I can't wait for the day where we can get back out there and into the dance circle and hear that drum and smell that sage burning, smell that fry bread burning, hearing the people, and just the loudest powwow music you can hear blasting in my ear. I remember hoka sound will always blast the heck out of my ear, and another Jerry Bear would also blast that speaker sound into my ear and make me almost deaf as I dance and I feel the beat, and I can't wait to hear that again. And bring all the things that happen at the powwow back together and witness that and be part of it again. I can't wait. I want to share these stories, and I can't help but reminisce about the good times. And I know there's gonna be a lot more good times coming here, and young kids, getting new outfits. I can't wait to see all the people with new outfits. There's been a lot of time for us as beaders or as craft people to put together new outfits and do beadwork and put together new dance items. And so everybody's going to be shiny and sparkly when we have our first powwow. And I'm excited. But at the same time, things are happening that I know people participate in the virtual powwow and virtual setting, which is pretty unique and fun in its own, because you get to pick that ideal spot. I think one time last year we picked a good spot for Thomas to dance, and we showed a really cool background as you dance. You have this really cool background elaborate. I've seen people dance with really cool snow in the background. Some people dancing at tracks, and you'll see people run behind you or something like that, something crazy. But you'll see even people with a huge mountain background with snow on it, or deep in the jungles of somewhere. Or in the desert. I've seen one also dancing in the I can't remember in K-Town, or what's referred to as the Red Mesa, or the I don't know, that place where it's really in the movies where it's red rocks. I can't even think of it. It's on my homeland too in Navajo Nation. Monument Valley, that's what it's called. People dancing with the background of Monument Valley in there and sharing that their dance story of where they come from. It's very really find that when they share their dance style, dance place, they get to share their home and get to see that on video. I think I tune into those, and I really enjoy watching some of the dance specials and dance styles on the virtual dance program. But at the same time, I can't wait to put my outfit together. I have like most people, I've been trying to put new beadwork together and new stuff. I still gotta work my moccasins. I gotta work on a headband. I already got some stuff done by a friend that helped me do some beadwork, and I already got the outfit and things I gotta put together. I was gonna try to wear my outfit today to kind of show a little bit more, but yeah, my outfit's not done. And the old outfit that I had, I kind of took it apart. I've been working on a few pieces. All the time I'm always doing repair. That's the thing, a way about a power dancer. And I was trying to share this meme as part of my thumbnail, and it talked about about the power dancer, a male power dancer. For the fancy dancer. It's this meme. I'll show you real quick. I wanted to share that too. Right. Let's get out of here. I'm trying to look at my stuff. But you might have seen this. Probably can't even see it. But anyway, it says the male powwow dancer. I'm going to see, because I can't read without the fancy dancer. It kind of gives a description. A fancy dancer is a player who gets all the babes. And traditional dancer is the guy you should be dating always, and always respectful to his grandma. That's traditional dancer. Grass dancer is your best friend who is secretly in love with you. And the prairie chicken dancer, the chicken dancer is kind of funny, kind of a weird guy. You don't know what you make of him. I just thought that was really funny in the shot. I wanted to share it. I think I made it as a thumbnail, but I'm kind of mixed between a traditional dancer and a chicken dancer. So I'm that guy that you want to date, and also respectful to his grandpa, and also kind of funny, and kind of a weird guy, and also kind of a guy you don't know what to make of. I guess that's me, because I dance those two different styles. But anyway, it's a funny thing I wanted to share. But at the same time, hopefully you guys learned something from my talk today. I was trying to be technology savvy and do a screen share, but my computer's acting up. But next time, I'm gonna, I think next time I'm gonna go in the grand entry, because a lot of people are familiar of how how the dancers come into grand entry. We always call grand entry. We use traditional dancers, and that's being female and male, or elders. that traditional dancers would come in first, and I think, and even some places that would be the grass dancers would actually come in first. And where I'm from, crow dancers are the one that come in first. But not to make it too complicated, we'll just say traditional, with the feathers coming first, and then the women and their traditional. I can't. Hopefully, I can find someone that can share the story of the women side of it. I don't want to take that power from the women because they know a lot more than I do, and at the same time, I want to try to share and find someone that can share that knowledge. I know a little bit, not a lot of it, but I would rather have the women's side of it share their perspective or their point of view or where they get it from. Because I know there's different styles of women, traditional dancers, being a cloth, buckskin, elk, tooth dress, what's that? I can't remember the name that they use. I'll just say the cloth, not the cloth dress. Yeah, cloth dress is one, and also the I want to say embroidery dress, but it comes from the middle of the United States. Anyway, but then from there, it kind of goes into the grass dancers. So I'll kind of talk about the grass dancers next. Maybe I should actually talk about. I can't really talk about Southern Straight, even though it's a traditional dance. Southern Straight is also a men's. They say men's dance, but I've seen Two Spirits and Two Spirits dance that dance, and they do a really good job. Just as traditional as the men do. Like I said, there's no gender that we do persecution against. That's a Western way of thinking. We were all accepting as Indian people, as traditional people. We're very accepting. We know that there's as many stars in the sky. There's as many genders in the universe, in the world. And even yeah. So men's Southern traditional is a little different. Straight dance. And the different tribes, it gets complex and where it comes from and different things that they wear on them. A lot of times, the only thing that I can probably tell you is that a lot of times they don't wear the bustle or the eagle bustle that we have, what I showed you that I wear behind me. The Southern Straight dancers don't wear that. They'll wear other items, including otter caps or otter trailers. Sometimes they'll even have like bear necklaces, or they'll have just think like a vest. They'll have a stick, kind of like a coop stick, or they'll have like a mirror board. But there's certain things a Southern dancer. Hopefully, I'll try to take some pictures. Hopefully, I was hoping to share, and I could kind of point out as we're talking, so you guys can see straight dancer, traditional dancer. Or I'll try to work on that. Hopefully, my computer works next time. I don't know what happened there. Just like the button's there, but you try to click on it, it's non-clickable. I don't know. Maybe I have to use Zoom. Might try to use a Zoom meeting and then go from that way, so I can, because I know how to use Zoom. I'm a lot better, more savvy, and I know how to use it. But sharing, hopefully I can share more. I want to share more pictures, more stories, more songs, and not just me sing or not just me dancing. So you guys take care. You guys have a good evening, a good night. I'm gonna continue my talk with traditional or the men dancers at the beginning. Then try to get into women dancers and try to share a little bit of knowledge that I know from the women's side, and any other dance. Hopefully I can share. Any questions, let me know in the chats. So hopefully Marine is still here listening to me, but at the same time, I know this video is going to be on our YouTube channel. If you like this content and want to see more of me, check that out. Subscribe. Smudge, don't judge. A little smudge for you if you like smudge. Just kidding. Trying to talk like a YouTuber. But anyway, you guys have a good day. This is Richard DeCrane signing off. Talking for the San Diego American Indian Health Circles of Care and the Youth Center. You guys have a good day. Let me know in the comments, what you thought, or if there's anything you want me to add or have questions of what I talked about. I know I talked about a lot, shared a lot from what I am. Maybe I left something out that I forgot. Let me know. in the comments. Hopefully, you guys have a good day, have a good evening. Wash your hands, double up those masks, and in the places that you need to have double mask, and be safe, and keep praying for the people that are mourning. You guys have a good evening, a good night, whatever time of day it is for you. Aho.